Aloha, everybody. This is Dave Wallace coming to you from Wahiawa, Hawaii. And I was looking at my YouTube videos, and someone had asked me if I could explain this matrix system that I use to go after the lottery. And after checking the one that I have posted, I realized it was way outdated. I made several changes since the last time I created an explanation. So here it is. What you're looking at is the number matrix for the Powerball lottery. The Powerball lottery consists of numbers from 1 through 69, and it's reflected here. Okay, and the numbers are divided up into rows. You have rows, 7 rows of 10 numbers. Actually, the last row contains only 9 numbers because there's 69 numbers. So each row I designated based on their size. So the first 10 numbers, I consider them to be tiny numbers, and that's why number 1 up here is designated with a T. So all of these numbers from 1 through 10 are considered tiny numbers, or T's. Okay? And when you see them written in each number, they will have a letter next to them. Okay? And then the next grouping is 11 through 20. That's my small numbers. Okay? And juvenile, or J, 21 to 30. Medium numbers, 31 to 40. Big numbers are 41 through 50. Large numbers is from 51 to 60. And then extra large is from 61 to 69 right here. So that explains the letters right next to the numbers. Below the numbers is another set of figures, and let's take a look at line number 1. You have 1T, and under it you have 20W. 20 is the number of times that this number appeared since I created this matrix back in November of 2020. Now, when I created this on November 11th, to make sure that any type of information I got in creating my initial lottery was valid, what I needed to do is collect data from the last 100 draws. Okay, so I started off with a base of 100 draws. So if you're looking at November of 2020, you'd have to go back 50 weeks to get 100 draws, because the Powerball lottery was being drawn only twice a week back then. So when you're looking at the numbers reflected here, the frequency of numbers, you're looking at a time period of almost 2 years. Okay? And in a period of 2 years, you have these numbers being where they are right now. Okay? So the number of times number 1 showed up is 20 times. Right next to it, and right next to these numbers under here, there's other designation, other number letters designating the frequency. Okay? And the W is warm. And what these numbers mean right here is right here. Hot numbers, or H numbers, are numbers that are repeated 22 or more times. The W numbers are warm numbers that repeated between 21 through 19 times. The K numbers, or cool numbers, are numbers that repeated 17 through 18 times. Then C numbers, or cold numbers, are numbers that repeated 16 through 15 times. And then you have the icy cold, or icy numbers, that appeared 14 or less. So that's what the numbers and the letters below each of these numbers mean. So number 1 is a warm number, 2 is a cool number, 3 is a warm number, 4 is a cool number. 5 is a cold number, 6 is a cool number, 7 is an icy number, 8 is a cool number, 9 is the coldest number that appeared only 10 times in the last 2 years. Okay, and then number 10 is a cool number. So that's how you read this matrix. Okay, now if you're not into keeping statistics and tracking these numbers and working, it takes a lot of work to do this, then this is not for you. Okay, if you want something instant or expect me to do it, I'm not gonna do it. Okay, so this is something that you have to do, and if you like record keeping, then this will make sense to you. Okay, so this is the first piece of information that I'm looking at, and I update this every time the numbers are drawn. Okay, so later today, being Wednesday, the Powerball is going to be drawn. I'm going to be updating this, so it will change. And also notice that as the numbers get bigger, these different the categories here, hot, warm, etc. and stuff, they have to be redefined to make sure that the number sizes and frequencies are adjusted. So these numbers are getting bigger and bigger. When I first started, hot numbers were 15 or more. Okay, so as you can see, some of these numbers are getting larger and larger, so we have to adjust the scale. Okay, the size of the numbers doesn't change over time, but the frequency does. Okay, so and these numbers keep on the frequency keeps on repeating, so that's one area we need to make adjustments. Almost probably every 3 or 4 draws we have to redefine and redistribute that. Okay, hope that makes sense. So the next sheet that I use in my method is this sheet, and it really helps me by looking at just the frequency alone. And this is what this is. I have all of the numbers that are considered hot numbers from the hottest numbers, and 39 and 21 are the hottest numbers, repeating 26 times each. Then you have a bunch of 25 times. Okay, so those are the hottest numbers. And then you got the warm numbers here, cool numbers here, cold numbers, and then the icy numbers. So these are this particular form tracks this, and as you notice, there are different color designations also. Okay, you got pinks, which is the most frequently drawn in the last 20 games. Orange is the second most frequent numbers drawn in the last 20 games. And then greens are the third category of numbers drawn. So these are the most frequent ones, and the pink, orange, and green, that's what they represent. Okay. As you notice, I've circled some of these, and in selecting the numbers that I'm going to be playing, I'm looking for not only the number size but also the frequency. Okay, and that's what this sheet represents. The third sheet that tracks the information that I'm looking at, this is the daily draw. Okay, and it's the Powerball recorder. This is a draw recorder, and here are the numbers from the last 20 draws. And again, I'm only looking at the 20 draws because of the lottery's tendency to repeat in the last 15 to 20 draws of the game. And here is the most recent draws, the bottom, and the further we go up is the later draws. Okay, and um, when I am going through this, what I'm looking for is numbers that are repeating, and the numbers that are repeating are marked. So the first four games, the last four games, are marked in pink, and all of the numbers that appeared in the last four games, I tracked them all the way back to the 20. And some of these numbers have appeared all the way back into the last 20 games. Okay, so it's telling me that these numbers are being repeated throughout the whole 20 game session. Okay, the next color code above here, tracking games number 5 through 8, is orange, and some of these numbers go all the way up, but not as much. Okay, and then the green, same thing. You got green appearing in the last previous four games, but again, not that much. And then finally, you have the blues, and the blues are not much. And here in the last 17 through 20 games, there are numbers that did not appear in any of these draws below them, so they're left uncolored and unmarked. So this helps you in understanding how the numbers are kind of like weaving through you and creating connections. And when I see these things happening, like a lot of pinks going all the way up to here, finding the last 20 games, it's an indication that these numbers right here that are repeating, this is a good indication that these numbers will continue to repeat. So that's what I'm looking for, numbers that repeating. Okay, and as you can see, I have the number frequency. You got hot, warm, cold, okay, all of that. And then the number size is right here, from tiny to extra large. And then the Powerball numbers here, the bonus balls that appeared. Okay, so that's this. Now I'll put this aside because I'm going to show you something interesting. This is the last sheet of paper. This is the one that most of my YouTube audience will recognize, and this is a sheet that I report and make my reports on. And all of these numbers are the numbers that appeared in the last four games. And where did I get these numbers? Well, I got them from right here. These are the pink numbers. Okay, and then the next category right next to it, you got these sets right here. These are the orange numbers in here, and goes up. Next set of numbers right here, see, right there, and they are the green numbers right here. Okay, so that's just to let you know where the numbers are coming from and that I create, that I'm putting here. So this is redistributing the numbers, giving me an indication of how the numbers look played out. And again, up here, I'm looking at the last 20 games. The most repeated numbers in the last 20 games are 33, 59, and 62. Okay, so those are the most repeated numbers. Then a second layer of numbers, that second most repeated numbers are here and here. Okay, so these are the orange numbers. Okay, anyway, and then right below you got the next. So everything is distributed and categorized by this time. Now coming here, this is where I use this information to create my number profiles. And the number profiles is kind of like the signature for each of the numbers, set of numbers that I'm going to be creating. And here you have, as I go back and take a look at the frequency, okay, and these letters, each of them are marked, okay, and then the size here, I'll take that information and rewrite it here. So there are 5 hot numbers in the last 20 games, 5 warm numbers in the last 20, 6 cool, 4 cold, and no icy. So the frequency is right there. Okay, no icy, everything from cold and above. Then size, they were too tiny, too small. 5 juvenile, 4 medium, 2 big, 2 large, and 3 extra large. Another thing that I did is that look at each of the number positions, and the number positions is smallest numbers in a draw. That's the first one. And if you take a look at here, you got 9, 24, 8, and 11. There are 2 odds and 2 even numbers, and that's what happens here. Okay, so for the numbers that were drawn, the first set, there were 2 odds and 2 even. The second set of numbers, you had 2 odd and 2 even. The third number pulled, or the middle number, you had 3 odd and 1 even. And then the fourth number, you had 2 odds, 2 even. And then the final number out here, you had 4 odd and no even numbers. So you have the number size, number frequency, number size, and even and odds, and that's what you get here. So the 5 H's are distributed in the 4 corner, in the 4 squares here. I'm creating 4 number profiles. So the 5 H's are divided up into the 4 categories. The 5 warm numbers, again, are distributed here. The 6 cool numbers are distributed here. And what I decided to do is that it's very unusual to have a category, especially frequency, being left alone. So since the cold numbers and icy numbers are pretty close together, okay, and the cold numbers and icy numbers are really close, what I decided to do is split the cold number into 2, and decided to create 2 cold numbers and 2 icy numbers for this particular draw. So that created the number profiles right here. And then you have the number size and the frequency and the odd and even. Sorry. Based on these number categories, okay, that I created, and the profiles, I go back and start taking a look at which numbers will fit. Okay, and let's take a look at how I use this sheet to determine the first set of numbers. Okay, and the first number that came up was the tiny number. Okay, tiny number 3 right here. And when we take a look at where can we find the tiny number 3? Okay, and where is the tiny number 3? Right here. Sorry. Okay, we find the number 3 right here. Okay, and it's a warm number and tiny, so we listed it right here. Okay, the next number is a juvenile number, and we had juvenile numbers are 21 through 30, and so we need 2 of them. So we have 21 and 27, and both of them are hot numbers, and 21 and 27 is right there. Okay, and that's how we got that number. 51 is a K number, and the number 51 was chosen here, and it's a K number. So we look into K for 51, and 51 was chosen. That's a large number right here. Okay, and a large number is marked off right here. Then the final number is C, and this is a cold number, and the number 37, and it needed to be an M. 37 is an M, and it's also a cold number, so 37 was chosen and marked out. So these are the numbers that were chosen from this sheet, and this is the way I create my profiles and how to match the profiles with the numbers, correct numbers, to create the number sets. Okay, and it takes a lot of work and concentration to do this. So the final number sets that were created for today's draw, the first set was 3, 21, 27, 37, 51, and the Powerball is 9. The next set is 12, 29, 33, 45, 64, and the Powerball is 4. The next number, 9, 30, 36, 48, 65, and the Powerball is 16. Final set, 14, 25, 35, 59, 62, and the Powerball is 10. So this is the method that I use to go after the Powerball, the Mega Million, California Fantasy 5, the Florida Fantasy 5, and the lotteries that I can play. Okay? So if you have any questions, feel free to write them down and send them my way, or you can contact me on Facebook. I'm Kahu Dave on Facebook, and feel free to contact and we can talk. Sorry. Okay? So again, enjoyed bringing this to you, and hope this explanation is suffice, and have a great day and good luck on the lotteries. And this is Dave Wallace from Waihoa, Hawaii, saying aloha.